Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Stotra Sutta Shri Srimad Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Stotra Sutta Shri Srimad Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yada Vasishta Swamananjanena Vai Balam Pravishto Jita Daitya Danavam Bahudarorvangrisrodharani Vrischannajasram pradane virajase Yada visrishtas tvamananjanena vai Balam pravishto jitadaitya danavam Bahudarorv angrisirodharani Vrischannajasram pradane virajase Yada visristas tvamananjanena vai Balam pravishto jitadaitya danavam Bahudarorv angrisirodharani Vrischannajasram pradane virajase Yada visishtas tramananjanena vai Balam pravishto jitadaitya danavam Yada visishtas tvamananjanena vai Balam pravishto jitadaitya danavam Bahudararvangrisrodharani Vaishnavis. Yada vishishtas samananjanena vai Padam pravishto jitadaitya danavam Paravangrisrodharani Anujasram pradane virajase Yada vasishtas tvamananjanena vai Pavam parvishto jitadaitya danavam Ahudararavangrisrodharani Yada, when, Visishta, sent, Tvam, your good self, Ananjanena, by the transcendental Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vai, indeed, Balam, the soldiers, Pravishtaha, entering among, Ajita, O indefatigable and unconquerable one, Daitya Danavam, of the Daityas and Danavas, the demons, Bahu, arms, Udara, bellies, Uru, thighs, Angri, legs, Siradharani, necks, Vrishchan, separating, Ajasram, incessantly, Pradane, in the battlefield, Virajase, you stay. Translation: O indefatigable one, when you are sent by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to enter among the soldiers of the Daityas and the Danavas, you stay on the battlefield and unendingly separate their arms, bellies, thighs, legs, and heads. We'll go to the next. Many verses don't have purport, so we'll read through them till we get to the purport. O protector of the universe, you are engaged by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his all-powerful weapon in killing the envious enemies. For the benefit of our entire dynasty, kindly favor this poor Brahmana. This will certainly be a favor for all of us. If our family has given charity to the proper persons, if we have performed ritualistic ceremonies and sacrifices, if we have properly carried out our occupational duties, and if we have been guided by learned Brahmins, I wish, in exchange, that this Brahmana be freed from the burning caused by the Sudarshan Chakra. If the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is one without a second, who is the reservoir of all transcendental qualities, and who is the life and soul of all living entities, is pleased with us, we wish that this Brahmana, Durvasa Muni, be freed from the pain of being burned. Shukadeva Goswami continued, when the king offered prayers to the Sudarshan Chakra and Lord Vishnu, because of his prayers, when the king offered prayers to the Sudarshan Chakra and Lord Vishnu, because of his prayers, the Sudarshan Chakra became peaceful and stopped burning the Brahmana known as Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni, the greatly powerful mystic, was indeed satisfied when freed from the fire of the Sudarshan Chakra. Thus he praised the qualities of Maharaj Ambarish and offered him the highest benedictions. Durvasa Muni said, my dear king, today I have experienced the greatness of devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For although I have committed an offense, you have prayed for my good fortune. For those who have achieved the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the master of the pure devotees, what is impossible to do, and what is impossible to give up? What is impossible for the servants of the Lord? By the very hearing of his holy name, one is purified. O King, overlooking my offenses, you have saved my life. Thus I am very much obliged to you because you are so merciful. Expecting the return of Durvasa Muni, the king had not taken his food. Therefore, when the sage returned, the king fell at his lotus feet, pleasing him in all respects, and fed him sumptuously. Thus the king respectfully received Durvasa Muni, who after eating varieties of palatable food was so satisfied that with great affection he requested the king to eat also, saying, "Please take your meal." Durvasa Muni said, "I am very pleased with you, my dear king. At first, I thought you of as an ordinary human being and accepted your hospitality. But later I could understand by my own intelligence that you are the most exalted devotee of the Lord. Therefore, simply by seeing you, touching your feet, and talking with you, I have been pleased and have become obliged to you." Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. It is said, Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra Vigyeha na Bhujaya. Even a very intelligent man cannot understand the activities of a pure Vaishnav. Therefore, because Durvasa Muni was a great mystic yogi, he first mistook Maharaj Ambarish for an ordinary human being and wanted to punish him. Such is the mistaken observation of a Vaishnav. When Durvasa Muni was persecuted by the Sudarshan Chakra, however, his intelligence developed. Therefore, the word Atma Medasa is used to indicate that by his personal experience he would understand how great a Vaishnav the king was. When Durvasa Muni was chased by the Sudarshan Chakra, he wanted to take shelter of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, and he was even able to go to the spiritual world, meet the personality of Godhead, and talk with him face to face. Yet he was unable to be rescued from the attack of the Sudarshan Chakra. Thus he could understand the influence of a Vaishnav by personal experience. Durvasa Muni was certainly a great yogi and a very learned Brahmana, but despite his being a real yogi, he was unable to understand the influence of a Vaishnava. Therefore it is said, Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra Vigyeya na Bhujaya. Even the most learned person cannot understand the value of a Vaishnava. There is always a possibility for so-called jnanis and yogis to be mistaken when studying the character of a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava can be understood by how much he is favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in terms of his inconceivable activities. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutade Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dudati Svapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Beg the blessings of the senior Vaishnavas that I may be able to speak on our Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta, which has been handed down to us by our Vaishnavacharyas, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So we've continuing the story between Durvasa Muni and Maharaj Ambarish. And in these shlokas that we've read, we hear about Durvasa Muni realizing that by his own intelligence who Maharaj Ambarish was, great Vaishnava. And Durvasa Muni is not just a regular person. And reading this pastime, we should not want to belittle or think little of Durvasa Muni. He's a very great soul. And he's easily angered. So if he hears us offend him, he can put many obstacles on our path. But he's born from Atri Muni and Anasuya Devi. Anasuya Devi was the most chaste woman in the material universe. In the pastime, she actually pleased Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva so much that they wanted to become her sons. So they expanded themselves and became her sons. And from Atri Muni and Anasuya Devi, Lord Brahma expanded himself as Soma, Somaraj, the moon. Lord Vishnu expanded himself as Dattatreya, and Lord Shiva expanded himself as Durvasa Muni. So he's a partial expansion of Lord Shiva. He's a great mystic, and yet he was unable to understand the true character of Maharaj Ambarish. Maharaj Ambarish was a householder. Oh, and to actually go back, Durvasa Muni was such a great personality that in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, Durvasa Muni met Srimati Radharani. And in that pastime, he came to Vrindavan, and all the gopis, they ran away from Durvasa Muni, except for Srimati Radhika. She stayed. And Durvasa Muni was so pleased by her staying that she wasn't afraid, that he asked her to cook some sweet rice. And so Srimati Radharani went and cooked some sweet rice and then offered it to Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni was so pleased that he gave her a benediction that anybody who ate what she cooked from her hands would live a very long life. And so Mother Yashoda, hearing this, became inspired to bring Srimati Radhika to cook for Krishna every day. So he was, you could say, used in that pastime to arrange Srimati Radharani going to Nanda Maharaj's home every morning to cook for Krishna. So he's a great personality. Maharaj Ambarish, he's a great Vaishnav, you could say, playing the role of a king, playing the role of a householder. Durvasa Muni, he's such a great mystic, practicing celibacy, practicing so many severe austerities, penances. He's got so many disciples that he travels with all over the universe. Maharaj Ambarish is a king householder. And yet Durvasa Muni could not understand who Maharaj Ambarish was. And Maharaj Ambarish, being such a great Vaishnav, he was not offended by Durvasa Muni wanting to kill him. In fact, he waited for Durvasa Muni to return, offered prayers to Sudarshan Chakra to please Durvasa, to stop chasing Durvasa Muni. He even talks about whatever dharma he's performed, whatever pious activities, if they've been taught by learned Brahmins, whatever pious credits that they have, and if their devotional service was pleasing to Vishnu, that to exchange that for Durvasa Muni being freed. This is the gentle, compassionate nature of a Vaishnava, that they're always putting others first, trying to help others. Para dukkha dukhi. Their suffering is others' suffering, and their happiness is others' happiness. This is a true Vaishnava. And so speaking of Vaishnavas, Aradhananam Sarveshnam, Vishnu Aradhanam Parataram, Devi Tariyanam Samarchanam. In Padma Purana, Lord Shiva states to Mother Parvati that better than worshipping demigods is to worship Lord Vishnu. Even better than worshipping Lord Vishnu is worshipping the devotees, or that which is connected to Vishnu, Tadiya. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he speaks about this Tadiya, how in this material world there's 4 representatives of Krishna in this material world. Now the deities are here, but to install deities you have to do puja, you have to do yagyas, you have to do a whole installation. But these 4 items that represent Krishna are automatically spiritual. You automatically get the highest benefit from coming in contact with them. And those 4 are Mother Ganga Devi, Srimad Bhagavatam, Tulsi Maharani, and the Vaishnavas. These are the 4 Tidiya, those that are in deep connection with Krishna. And in this verse it says that those are even more worshipable than Lord Vishnu himself. And there's 2 verses that I wanted to quote. The first one is from Hari Bhakti Vilas. And it says that one who worships Govinda without worshipping those who are connected to him cannot be considered a true devotee. In fact, he is nothing more than a hypocrite. And from Adi Purana, Krishna states, O Arjuna, those who say they are my devotees are not really my devotees. I only consider those who are the servants of my devotees to be my devotees. These are very powerful verses, and we could go on and on and on. Different verses that are stated in the Shastras. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Koi, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Even if you get an 11th of a second of an association of a Vaishnav, that's the essence of life, that's the essence of all scriptures. This is how powerful the Vaishnavas are. But Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra Vigyeya Na Bhujaya. Even the most learned person cannot understand the value of a Vaishnav, cannot understand the mind of a Vaishnav. Because Mam Chayo Vyabacharena Bhakti Yogena Sevate Sagunan Samatityatyan Brahma Bhuya Kalpate. The Vaishnavas are beyond the modes of material nature. They're situated in Shuddha Sattva. By their Bhakti Yogena, their devotional service in connection with Krishna, Srila Prabhupada actually states that the Vaishnavas are qualitatively one with Krishna. So we have to be very careful on how we associate with Vaishnavas. It's the mad elephant offense. But why is it called the mad elephant offense? It's because when you enter into devotional service, in your heart there's a little creeper that starts growing, Bhakti Lata Bij. There's a seed that's planted and a little creeper grows. And a mad elephant can come into the garden and tear up trees, tear up everything. What to speak of our little creeper? So if we offend Vaishnavas, our creeper is gone. So, api chet sudaracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak. Those who are ananya bhak, even if they commit the most abominable activities, they're to be considered saintly because of ananya bhak. Ananya means undeviated, unmotivated devotional service, uninterrupted devotional service. They're completely fixed at the lotus feet of Krishna. They're still to be considered saintly, whatever material judgments we may have about them. And there's a very nice pastime, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Tomorrow is his divine Tirobhav Mahotsava, his disappearance day, where we can sincerely pray to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur for his mercy in advancing in Krishna consciousness. And so he talks about how one day he had a dream that he was wandering in the clouds chanting the holy name. And he came upon Yamaraj, Narada Muni, and Lord Brahma. And they were discussing this verse, Api chet sudaracharo bhajate mama nanyabhak. They were describing this verse, and the next verse, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma. And they were saying that if Krishna states that Api chet sudaracharo, if one commits the most abominable activities, and still he's engaged in devotional service in Nanyabhak, he's to be considered saintly, then doesn't it seem redundant that in the next verse it says that they will become quickly righteous, thank you, dharmatma, righteous, and they will not perish? Doesn't it seem a little bit redundant? And Yamaraj and Brahma and Narada Muni, they saw Bhaktivinoda Thakur chanting japa, and they said, oh, look, there's a pure devotee. Let's go ask him. And so they went and they asked Bhaktivinoda Thakur to explain those 2 verses. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that actually the next verse, Kshipram bhavati dharma, those who quickly become righteous, that is actually meant for those who see the devotees as saintly. So those persons who see the devotees even committing the most abominable activities, those persons, if they consider the Vaishnavas to be saintly, then they will quickly become righteous. So, no, they quickly, even though the Vaishnavas, they sometimes might commit abominable activities if they're ananya bhak. Ananya bhak. What does ananya bhak mean? Yeah. So those persons who see those devotees as saintly will quickly become righteous. That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur states. That's his commentary on that verse. So he's talking about how those persons who see the devotees as saintly, they become quickly righteous. But does that mean that devotees can do whatever they like? No. Because Ananya Bhak, those who are Ananya Bhak, situated at the lotus feet of Krishna, they will not engage in sinful activities. Sometimes there might be a slip-up, but if they're still continuing the process of devotional service, engaging deeply, sincerely, then they're still to be considered saintly. As we heard in the memorial of Brahmananda Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada said, even if you see Brahmananda Prabhu smoking a cigarette, you should still consider him saintly. That's a very big statement from Srila Prabhupada, because he knew that Brahmananda was situated at the lotus feet of himself and Krishna. And so Brahmananda Prabhu would never do that. But because he had fixed up devotional service, he would still be considered saintly. So we have to be very careful on how we see Vaishnavas. We can approach them in a very sentimental way. But if we approach them in a sentimental way, sentiments can change, and then we can commit offenses. There's a very powerful pastime, especially for the younger devotees, the second generation, who are under the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada's disciples. The pastime of Ramachandra Puri. Ramachandra Puri, he came to Jagannath Puri when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was staying there. And Ramachandra Puri was the godbrother of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual master, Ishvara Puri. So Ramachandra Puri, he went and he looked for Paramananda Puri, his godbrother, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he arrived and he embraced both of them very strongly, giving them hugs. But Ramachandra Puri, he was in the mood of finding fault in the Vaishnavas. Wherever he went, he just wanted to find fault in the Vaishnavas. And so Jagadananda Pandit, he offered Ramachandra Puri, please come to my home, take prasadam. I will take care of you. So a large amount of prasadam was brought to Jagadananda Pandit's home. And so Ramachandra Puri, he took prasadam, and then he begged Jagadananda, please, you take prasadam now. Please eat more. And he encouraged Jagadananda to eat more and more. And at the end, Ramachandra Puri, he said, just see, I've heard that the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they eat too much. And just see, I've seen it with my own eyes today. When you overeat, you cannot keep your regulative principles, and the sannyasis, they will fall down. So just see the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so he would criticize all the Vaishnavas in this way. He would try to get them to overeat, encourage them, and then offend them, find fault in them. And this finding fault was because when his spiritual master, Srila Madhavendra Puri, was passing away from this material world, Ramachandra Puri, he mistook his guru's sentiments, his guru's advanced knowledge of Krishna consciousness to be sentiment, to be emotional. Madhavendra Puri would cry out, oh Krishna, where have you gone? Where is Mathura? Where is that place? He would be crying, begging for Krishna's lotus feet. And Ramachandra Puri said, why don't you fix your mind on impersonal Brahman? You're supposed to be fixed. Why are you crying? Why are you emotional like this? He couldn't understand Madhavendra Puri's bhav, his deep transcendental emotions. And so he offended his spiritual master, and his spiritual master said, get out of here. I do not want to see your face at the time of my departure. But Ishvara Puri could understand the mood of his spiritual master and served his spiritual master with so much faith and love. And because of that, he empowered Ishvara Puri with Krishna consciousness. And so through these two disciples, Madhavendra Puri, he taught the whole world. One is, not getting the mercy of the Vaishnav, and the other is getting the mercy of the Vaishnav. And so Ishvara Puri, he became the so-called spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Ramachandra Puri, because his heart was contaminated with impersonalism, and because he had offended his spiritual master, anywhere he went, he could only find fault with the Vaishnavas. And so he went criticizing them. So much so that he wanted to find fault in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he couldn't find fault in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so one day he went to go see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he saw some ants. And he said, oh, see, there must be some sugar candy here last night. Just see, you're eating sugar candy. You have too many sweets here. And he criticized Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even though Srila Prabhupada and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says ants are everywhere in Jagannath Puri. And so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what did he do? Did he try to defend himself? Did he become angry? No, seeing that Ramachandra Puri was his guru's godbrother, he took a very humble position, and he actually reduced his eating in half. And this disturbed the minds of all the Vaishnavas. But this is a very powerful example to set for us junior devotees. Because for us, junior devotees, no matter what is going on, Vaishnav etiquette dictates that the godbrothers and godsisters of your spiritual master are on the same level, and they should be respected as such. Even if they're considered to be somehow out of bounds or doing some things that might be questionable, we should still offer our most heartfelt respects to them and see them as saintly. Not that we go and associate with them. As Archita Prabhu, Sriman Archita Prabhu said in Saturday's class, we have to have discrimination, and we have to use our intelligence. Using our intelligence in Krishna's service means that we have to discriminate that which will help our devotional service from that which will be detrimental to our devotional service. So we have to use our intelligence in who to properly associate with. And so this is a powerful pastime to really meditate on. And another pastime to really meditate on is, tomorrow is the disappearance day of Gadadhar Pandit. And we know, we've heard so many times how Gadadhar Pandit, how he met Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Pundarik Vidyanidhi came to Navadvip, and nobody could understand his glories. Even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was calling out for Pundarik Vidyanidhi, the devotees couldn't understand who he was calling out to. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, when you see him, you will not understand his glories. You will think he is a gross materialist. And so Mukunda, he could understand the glories of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And so he brought Gadadhar Pandit, and Gadadhar Pandit couldn't understand, why did Mukunda bring me here? He's sitting on a soft bed. Two servants are fanning him with peacocks. He's chewing pan. He's got his hair slicked back. He looks like a materialist. How is this person a great Vaishnava? He couldn't understand. But when he came in, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he said, oh, who is this young boy? I could see by his effulgence that he's practicing devotional service. And Mukunda introduced him. This is Gadadhar Pandit. He's very dear to all the Vaishnavas. And Mukunda could see that Gadadhar Pandit couldn't understand the glories of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, so he started glorifying Krishna. And Pundarik Vidyanidhi went into such ecstasy that nobody in this day and age could even imagine to imitate. And so Gadadhar Pandit, he then could understand the real glories of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And he took initiation from Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra Vigeya Nabhujaya. Even the most learned person cannot understand the value of the Vaishnavas. And Srila Prabhupada concludes this purport talking about a Vaishnav can be understood by how much he is favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in terms of his inconceivable activities. And so we can understand the inconceivable activities, we could try to understand the inconceivable activities of Srila Prabhupada. We hear about his life and it's amazing. Even recently being with my in-laws, we were in Butler, Pennsylvania, so they were asking a lot of questions about Srila Prabhupada. We were talking about his 50th anniversary of coming to Boston Harbor and Butler. And they were asking so many questions about Srila Prabhupada, and for them, it's inconceivable that a man of his age could cross the ocean and spread the Krishna consciousness movement. So what to speak of devotees? Persons outside, they're just in awe of Srila Prabhupada. And this is Srila Prabhupada. We could understand that he's very favored and very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And those who are deeply connected with Srila Prabhupada, we should be very careful to offend them or misunderstand them. And living in a community as such, sometimes we can take it for granted, Vaishnava association, sadhu sangha. Every day we do the same thing, becomes mechanical. Sometimes our tongue slips a little bit. We think in our mind very differently about many different Vaishnavas. And we go on about our day like it's no big deal. But in the pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaking with Ramananda Roy, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks, what is the greatest distress in this world? And Ramananda Roy answers that the greatest distress in this world is being separate from the Vaishnavas. So we should be very grateful and take it to heart that we're able to associate with so many nice Vaishnavas in this community, and we should be very careful. And we show our love to Srila Prabhupada by cooperating with each other. Srila Prabhupada said, you can show your love for me by cooperating. So I'll end there. If anybody has any questions or answers, questions or comments. Archita Prabhu has question and the answer.
No question, just glorification of your grace. Thank you very much for tying those two verses together. Vaishnava Kriya Mudra and Apichat Sudarachara, because there's definitely a connection there that you brought up very nicely. But just to add a little bit to the understanding, Prabhupada said that when you have this mentality of not understanding Vaishnavas like Durvasa did and criticizing them, it extends even all the way up to Krishna. The example for not understanding Vaishnavas is Arjuna killing Karna in that way. But because it's what Krishna wanted, then it's perfect. And that's where the distinction comes in. If the Vaishnava is doing something that seems abominable, but if it was what Krishna wants them to do, and earlier in this chapter, I think it's this chapter, maybe the end of the last chapter, and Ron Purport Prabhupada said, at every moment a Vaishnava is doing what Krishna wants him to do. And that's why you can't criticize. Because if somebody's doing what God wants them to do, then it's above criticism. Killing Karna in that way, ordinarily you could criticize. He's off his chariot, he doesn't have any weapons, and you kill him, that's against Kshatriya code, etc. But that's what Krishna wanted Arjuna to do, so it's perfect. And you can't criticize. So Prabhupada pointed out several times that this business of criticizing Vaishnavas, if you keep it up, you extend all the way to Krishna. Just like he said, even in India, so many people say they like Bal Krishna, butter thief, but they don't like Gopi Krishna because it's immoral. Foolish, completely stupid. everything belongs to Krishna, so he can do anything he wants. He can dance with anybody. He can do anything he wants. He can take anything. There's no question of stealing. Or they say they like Gopi Krishna, but they don't like Arjun Krishna because that's ghastly, killing on the battlefield and all that. Again, foolish. Prabhupada said there's no distinction, no difference between Gopi Krishna, Arjun Krishna, Bal Krishna. So they're not understanding. So it's very important that you tie those two verses together. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Acharya Narottam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Bal Gopal Prabhu, thank you very much. Very nice class. So my question comes in regards to Ramachandra Puri, Madhavendra Puri. So so we know Madhavendra Puri, he's a great Vaishnava. So we practice the personal philosophy of God, you know. How is possible that Ramachandra Puri, trying to induce his Gurudev to focus in Brahman, it sounds like a Mayavadi kind of philosophy. So my question is, he became Mayavadi? So how, because he is in the school of Madhavendra Puri, which is personal. So we, as a guru, he should taught his disciple, Krishna is a person, God is a person, and they all worship as a person. So he became Mayavadi?
Yes, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami states that he was attached to impersonalistic view. And so even during the time of Madhavendra Puri, he was an impersonalist, even though he couldn't grasp the teachings of his spiritual master. But we can understand that Ishvara Puri could understand the teachings of his spiritual master. Just like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's certain devotees under Advaita Acharya, they also became impersonalists. But it stated that they became like dead wood, useless. They became cut off from the mercy. So they're cut off from the parampara. So Ramachandra Puri, under Vaishnava etiquette, Vaishnava etiquette, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu still accepted and revered him as his spiritual master's god brother. But he did not intimately associate with Ramachandra Puri. Brigupati Prabhu.
Prabhu, thank you for a very beautiful class. Please forgive me for my outburst. I was expecting to hear something different, and when I didn't, my mind got all disturbed. But when I calmed down and thought about what you said, it was perfectly correct. I apologize.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Bhakti Avatar Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yeah, one example I'd like to relate that Brahmananda told in Vrindavan to illustrate the greatness of Srila Prabhupada that you mentioned and how dear he is to Krishna. After Srila Prabhupada had his 2 heart attacks on the Jaladuta, then it's written in his diary. Brahmananda actually, had possession of his diary. So he said that Lord Krishna personally came and revived Srila Prabhupada. And in Srila Prabhupada's quarters, there's a painting which was done by a Russian artist who, he was there and he had the painting on one side, showing Lord Krishna putting his hand on Srila Prabhupada's chest and reviving him, because it's impossible that after 2 heart attacks somebody's going to be up walking around the next day like Srila Prabhupada was. And then another thing, then when he was out on the deck of the ship, Srila Prabhupada saw in front of the Jaladuta a huge ship with Krishna and his queens on the ship, and the Jaladuta was in the wake of the ship. Anyone who's been in a boat, they look behind the boat, you see there's waves on each side, coming from each side of the boat. But in the middle, it's completely calm. That's called the wake. So the Jaladuta was in the wake of this huge ship, and all the way across the Atlantic, Srila Prabhupada was perceiving this. And the Atlantic is a very turbulent ocean. And normally, you know, when the Jaladuta went across the Atlantic, it was, you know, very rough and turbulent. And so at the end of the voyage, the wife of the captain, she said, please, Swamiji, come with us every voyage. We've never had such a calm voyage in the Atlantic. And the reason why is because they're in the wake of this wonderful ship that Lord Krishna was piloting with his queens. So protecting Srila Prabhupada so he could come and start ISKCON and we could have this wonderful society that we have around the world. And also starting tomorrow, or maybe it's the next day, if it's tomorrow's the disappearance of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So for 1 month, starting either whatever it is, the new moon, starting on the new moon, 17th, okay. So starting on the 17th and going for 1 month is Purushottam Mas. And Ayendra, he made a big thing about Purushottam Mas. He used to say that, and he was quoting Padma Purana and other Puranas, that during this time we can make magnificent spiritual advancement because we get 16,000 times the benefit for our devotional service no matter where we are. And if we're in the Holy Dham, Vrindavan, Mayapur, or Jagannath Puri, we get another 1,000. So during this time, if we're in the Holy Dhams, we can get 16 million times the benefit. And Srila Prabhupada also said that all of my temples are non-different than Vrindavan. So we're actually in the Holy Dham. So during this time, we should do a lot of devotional service because we get 16 million times the benefit for our devotional service during this month.
Purushottam Mas is non-different than Krishna himself. And His Holiness Jayapataka Swami has sent out that a lot of the things to follow in Purushottam Mas is actually already there in the morning program. And so His Holiness Jayapataka Swami is encouraging everybody to follow the morning program very strictly, chant extra rounds, but also try to preach more. Jayapataka Swami is trying to get devotees more enthusiastic for the Purushottam Mas, to do outreach programs, more preaching, more book distribution. So, Srila Prabhupada ki.